fifth most popular of the Pacificklaus videos on YouTube. Now, in the last couple of years, I would always make a video at the beginning of the year with the best of from the last year, but this time it's the best of from the history of the channel. Number 5 is a oceanic triggerfish in Tubatha reefs in the Philippines, of course, defending its nest. So what looks like a crater from blast fishing is actually the nest which this large triggerfish cleared. This one doesn't attack divers, but it attacks other fish, and I had the great chance to film this in Tubatha in Palawan. Number 4. Now, very popular video which got a lot of views is this encounter between two sea cucumbers in Apo Island in the Negros Oriental province of the Philippines. So this smaller sea cucumber here is grazing on the bigger sea cucumber, which with a white body surface. And these sea cucumbers are not particularly smart, so it just probably was grazing and it just didn't realize that it went from a rock and coral rubble onto that bigger sea cucumber. Now, what happened next was that it came really close to the butthole of the larger sea cucumber, and then the bigger animal didn't appreciate the intrusion into its privacy. So hence it defended itself. And how did it defend itself? Well, pretty much in the only way it knew. Now, wait for it, coming. So it expels a really big amount of water through its butthole to knock off the smaller sea cucumber, which is just essentially driven away by this massive butt wind coming from the larger sea cucumber. And I think it got the message. Now, this is right after this encounter. It's in the sand in front of the bigger animal. I thought it was hilarious, and I guess a lot of people on YouTube shared the notion that this is good natural history, but it's also pretty bizarre humor. So I love sea cucumbers. Very interesting evolution, anatomy. The neuroanatomy of these animals is really interesting. Essentially 3 rather separate parts of the nervous system. And so here is the perpetrator of that knockout punch retreating into the sunset in Apo Island. So that was quite an encounter to film. Number 3, third most popular video. So this is something which I filmed on Ccucumber Island, which is just across from Negros. So these are 2 gobies of the species Valencianea puellaris, and they have this home burrow here. They're feeding. You can see how they're grabbing sand and going through it to see if there's something edible in there. And so most likely this is a mated pair of a male and a female, but then an intruder of the same species came, and that fish had some kind of a standoff with one of the residents. And then, they were gaping open their mouths. This is a common strategy in fish to show how big you are. They're showing off. And then supposedly the fight ended, but then the intruder tried to get a sucker punch in, and one of the gobies, however, of the residents blocked that sucker punch. Amazing. Tiny fish, but highly coordinated. Okay, second most popular video on my YouTube.
Since they're tasty, immobile and live in shallow waters, they were overharvested for many years, and their populations were in peril in the Philippines in the 1990s.
Having this giant clam breeding program because these giants were locally
The Marine Science Institute.
Philippines. So this is their lab, and they're injecting this animal with serotonin to get it to spawn. And so here you can see the siphon of this animal, and then the animal is emitting sperm. So basically that injection triggered the spawning event, and then what the scientists at the University of the Philippines are doing, they're collecting the fertilized eggs and they're breeding the larvae in tanks, and when they have reached a certain size, they're settling them in their breeding area. So, they can multiply these amazing animals. So, great megafauna conservation. So here again, this is the tank in the lab. Okay, best ever, most popular ever video on the Pacificklaus YouTube channel is of course this one. So a triggerfish. That is a fish which was triggered, but it's actually named like that because it has this trigger mechanism on its back. It attacked me. Why did it attack me? Well, I came too close to its nest without realizing so. But the fish doesn't have a sense of humor about this. So it really tried to chase me down. I was swimming backwards pretty quickly, and the fish didn't let up. So after chasing me for a while, it rested and then it came after me again. So this fish was really angry, and fortunately I had good enough nerves to keep filming while this attack happened. So here you have it. These are my 5 most popular videos on YouTube. There are a bunch of things which I think should be popular. These are my book, Gehirn Extrem, Your Brain on Diving, about scuba diving physiology, the lives of gobies, and together with James Reimer, 25 future dives. Check them out.